Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently Thursday, January 19th, 2012, and this is Day 9 Daily number 402. Now, some of you are noticing that something weird happened. Yesterday, we did Day 9 Daily number 404, where there was nothing but a blank chair here. And of course, helping to raise awareness about the whole SOPA and PIPA issue, which is, as you may note, a tremendous problem for pretty much any creative producer that uses the wonderful freedom of the internet to spread free content. Yeah, free content! We like things to be free, don't we? So, I originally planned to have the 404th daily land on that very day. Cool, right? It's so smart, right? Daily 404 not found. Oh! But, of course, I suck and blew a daily violently. Horribly, you saw that. And I messed up on the scheduling. Talk about that in a second. The important thing is that we're going to do 402 today, 403 on Sunday, and then we give Monday with 405. So we're kind of rearranging time, but if you're going to make a political statement, you got to be clever. Always remember that. Now... I don't have gills. I can't breathe this water. And I can't, but I tried to elucidate as much information as I could while dying. So hopefully that was at least entertaining for you. Fight on, fight on. Now here's the reason I got a little bit confused about the dates. There was an important date this week, the 19th of January. What happens then? My roommate released his very own amazing iPhone and iPad game Puzzle Juice that I'm going to show you on his iPad right now. Yeah, listen to that music. Yeah, alright. It's Puzzle Juice is the name of it. Puzzle Juice. Puzzle Juice. It kicks ass because it's a word game that combines Tetris and Boggle, and I'm just going to play it. Let me see if I can get the angle right. Alright, let me... Guys. Alright, cool. Cool, this is pretty good, okay? Oops, so I gotta drag it. Oh, destroying blocks. Okay, because I'm a badass, I'm gonna do hard mode. Sounds great. Okay, cool. Challenge avoided. Whatever. I'm going to show you the gameplay because it's just so fun. By the way, you can see my fat head in the reflection. See, drag blocks down? Yeah. Dragging blocks. I'm just going to drag them down, right? Come on, drag down, little block. Come on. Ooh, I'm going to rotate this. You rotate, you just tap it. It's on your iPad and your iPhone. And for any of you who don't know my roommate, Asher, he is the man. He greatly improves my quality of life. Seems pretty much just like Tetris, right? It's pretty Tetris-y. Let me go ahead and throw this down. Oh my god, letters! Holy crap, letters. And as a matter of fact, let me actually throw this sucker here. Any contiguous block of color, you can just tap it and letters appear. Look at this. Chain bonusing. Okay, anytime I can drag my finger around and make a letter, you see there? I can make a dune right in the middle, right? Dune. But because I'm risque, I'm going to make the word nude. N-U-D-E. Bam! Destroying the letters! Yes! Oh my god. This game is actually so unbelievably addictive. Oh my god, did you see that? Yeah, in original Tetris, end as now. Fuck. Ugh. Alright, okay, let me rotate a little bit here. Oh, this is shameful. I have a th, I need a K to help me express my emotion here. You know what? I don't give a damn. I'm gonna throw it down there. Worst placement ever. Yeah. I got yip. Yep, level up. Bam! Oh, hit the tornado. Chain bonus. Who's good at this game? I'm good at this game. And we're just going to turn it off because I actually am not so good at the Tetris portion. But because I have played the game Text Twist, I love the word flibba-libba-doo. It's kind of funny because it starts really speeding up the Tetris portion really fast. So you have to kind of like drag the blocks down and then be like, all right, I need to form letters. And Asher is a genius. Let me just explain to you the genius of this. He is brilliant with polish. He's actually been designing games for like 10 years. If you've played The Misadventures of PB Winterbottom, he was the designer on that game. And I think he coded a lot of it too. So you know how like whenever you're in Microsoft Word or something and it's like save document and it's like save, don't save, cancel, right? There's these sort of like dry button names. But in Asher's game, when a little menu pops up and the menu's like, hey, you just advanced to the next level. The button that says okay to close it, it doesn't say okay. It says, I'm ready, baby. And you're like, Yeah, and you hit the I'm ready, baby button. Every button never says okay or done or next. It's always like, yeah, yeah. And I would like to note that I received no monetary benefit from the promotion of this game, other than the fact that Asher greatly improves the quality of my life. So if you'd be so kind as to support Asher, I would like that. And that's all there is. Woo! Yeah! The game's also unbelievably funny. You probably will have ruined productivity. Bam! Let me talk about the other incredibly exciting announcement, After Hours Gaming League Season 2, where we have over 30 major companies competing for the chance to win $5,000 of my money to donate to the charity of their choice. I'm sure as many of you know, there's a ton of tournaments out there for players to play and for spectators to spectate and for haters to hate. But the purpose of the After Hours Gaming League is to help spread awareness and grow esports and demonstrate that playing competitively and doing StarCraft 2 as a hobby and an activity is an incredibly fun team-building experience. So I'm delighted to see that a lot of awareness is continuing to grow and spread. And of course, tomorrow go to ahgl.tv or to that website. Bam. Bam. There you go, afterhoursgaming.tv, or of course tomorrow at ahgl.tv for the full-blown, bulbous announcement of awesomeness. And now let's talk about today's daily topic. Once again, get Puzzle Juice. The name of the game is Puzzle Juice. Puzzle Juice. What I want to talk about today is an amazing game played in Total Biscuit's Shoutcraft Invitational. Before you hear anything else, youtube.com/totalhalibut for all the casts of all the games, because I know I'm going to get asked that a million times, and getting it out of the way now. This was the finals series between Thorzain and Stephano, their first game on Metalopolis, that was one of the most beautiful games of StarCraft 2 I'd ever seen. I was so pumped for the chance to be able to do a little bit of commentary on this. And because it's so long, this allows us to divide the daily into beginning, middle, and end. Game. Cool. We're going to talk about the early game in part 1. Excuse me, why what they're both doing is cool. And then in part number 2, we'll talk about a lot of the mid-game tactics, in particular thinking about expanding, where they expand in relation to their army, how they're putting pressure on. And in the end, we're going to look at the end game. How they're remaxing their armies, how they change distribution of their armies over time. I might start out maxed with Marines and tanks, but now I'm winding up maxed on Ghosts, Ravens, and Vikings and Thors. Seems weird. We're going to talk all about that in part 3. Let's hit it. The game begins. Once upon a time on a map known as Metalopolis, there was a lovely Frenchman whose hair was the envy of all women throughout the whole world. His name is Stephano, spawning in the right position, and we have Thorzain spawning in the top. And of course, because these two players are actually extremely nice folk and good buddies, they just talk about trying to make the game epic, and they succeed, as we will note by the fact that the game is about 58 minutes long. Now, to discuss this opening, first I want to spend a little bit of time in Camp Thorzain and just watch his basic opening and talk about some of the important aspects to it. And then I want to come back here and focus on Stephano's opening and talk about those aspects. And then we'll easily pop into part number 2 after that. Oh, the sound was enabled. No way, that's so rare for me. Unbelievable. I always have the sound off. I was going to try to subtly sneak it on in there, but pretty awesome. Ha ha ha. So we have Thorzain up here. He's going to get ready to build himself a good old friendly neighborhood tech lab. Refinery. So already I want to note that you'll see that this refinery is started with the 15th SCV. See that rally point? A little bit unusual. Ordinarily we start that at the 13th SCV. But this is becoming a common way to get a pretty quick expansion up. Now let me actually just go to the Thorzain cam, as this is more like what your camera will look like. And by the way, I really appreciate the feedback that you guys are sending to the feedback box, as it allows me to help hone in the structure of the daily. So this is what's nice about going geyser on 15 food instead of 13, building the geyser concurrently with the orbital command, is that when you throw down this command center, let's look up at our gas up at the top right corner, our gas and money, see right up here. Look at the gas and the money, and right when it's 150, 100, boom, we can now build ourselves a factory. You are enabled, or you have the ability to sneak in a command center in the midst of all this. Now, in the unit station, you'll notice that there is but a single Marine on this entire map. It's just going to do a little bit of a poke here. The important thing is that we're not going to do any sort of crazy bunker aggression. We're just quite honestly rushing for command center, rushing for factory, and then getting our reactor up. This early second barracks is a pretty important component. You might ask, well, at what food do I build this? The answer is whenever you have the money, to be honest. In other words, we build this command center. Whenever we have the money to build our factory, boom, we build it. Whenever we have the money to build the barracks, boom, we build that. Always keep in mind, do not cut these SCVs. Do not cut these SCVs. Do not cut SCVs. Where's something I can flip? This box of allergy tablets. God, that felt good. Wow. Yeah, don't cut SCVs ever. In every build, whenever it's new, your gut instinct as a player is fast, fast, fast. That's a good instinct because in RTS, the faster you get things, the sooner you can hurt your opponent. And the harder it is for him to get defense up in time. But make sure you don't cut the SCVs, or I'll cut you. I'll come to your house with a blade, man. I'll cut you, man. That is what we call educating. This is a very cool thing. Getting an early second refinery, this is a little bit surprising. We'll see why this was important later on, but for now, just note it's at around 22. Now, the rest of the structure of what's going to go on in the base is pretty typical. Orbital command in the main base. We don't have any units here on the low ground, so obviously we don't really want to mosey on down. Insta Tech Lab. Insta Hellions. Nothing out of this barracks for now. But the instant we get these Hellions up is when it's time to go. That's pretty cool, right? Getting a very fast stim pack. We now have a reason why we're getting this fast barracks. Very fast stim pack. And what we're going to see is we're now going to end up with a swap to good old happy time barracksing action where we have a lot of barracks up. I'm going to ignore this starport for a moment. I'll actually hit the B back button. Let's talk a little bit about what Zerg can possibly have at this point in time. When we poke with the Marine, it's pretty important to note that simply by seeing that he took an expansion greatly reduces the strength of any super early roach push. If he goes pool expand, if he goes gas pool expand, he's probably going to have a pretty difficult time getting roaches up really quickly. The purpose of these Hellions here, you want to be poking just to make sure there's nothing going on over here. Obviously, he could be going roaches. This ends up being fine because, as we're going to see, Thorzain is going for very, very, very fast medevacs. I would generally advise against getting too many Marauders in this spot, but note that this barracks is committed to having a tech lab. It's not like we're going to lift this barracks and build a factory on it anytime soon, because, you know, that would cancel stim. Hey, that's bad. So we can build a Marauder if we need to in some kind of emergency. It's pretty important, I think, to just be aware of your supply depots. Don't lower both of them. Try to just lower this inner depot, so that way you can have a little bit of flexibility. But these Hellions are going to allow us to poke just a little bit, making sure there's no counterattack happening. And then they're going to sprint straight away down here. This is a pretty... killing off the Zergling, obviously, and now sprinting straight on down. This is around the time when roaches are possibly going to be a little bit of a threat, but the important thing is that you know the role of these Hellions. Now, I just want to envision, for a brief moment, all the things that our Zerg player could be doing. He could be, just in vague senses, he could be getting a bunch of expansions fast, could be rushing really quickly for Mutalisks, he could be trying to do some sort of, I guess, anything with a layer. I'll call it anything with a layer for now, because again, what we're doing is getting ultra, ultra, ultra fast medevacs. I want to talk a little bit about what's strong with this opening right now and what's weak, now that we've talked a little bit about what happens in the opening. This factory simply built 2 Hellions, no more. Immediately shifted back and is building a reactor for the starport. Why did we get this second gas so early on? So that way we could start stim soon, get a starport up really quickly, and then immediately build 2 medevacs. Look at the gas. Has just enough gas and minerals to build 2 medevacs. Ain't that nifty. Thorzain makes up for building no bunker here by walling this with supply depots and by having these Hellions here. These Hellions don't actually do very much. Just make sure that you do stuff with the Hellions, that you're looking at them and stuff. You go to like watchtowers, and you look at the minimap and whatnot, because this is a pretty key moment that I think a lot of builds end up being weak with. Is right here when the 2 medevacs pop out. Now Thorzain's going to go ahead and lift up and do a little bit of harassment. And you'll note that there are less than 16 Marines here, which means there are 0 Marines here, which means these Hellions are the only thing that's in the way. The only thing that's in the way. So that, you'll notice that I keep bouncing back to that, right? The Hellions, critical, absolutely critical. They first check for counterattacks at the start. They then go push forward to make sure that there's no roaches and nothing too scary. They then hold the watchtower and continue to deny Lings from doing too much poking around. And this drop is the crux of the opening. This is the core of everything that our good old friend Thorzain wants to do, because this opening outright kills a lot of stuff.
Research.
Notice that this layer is not done yet. I mean, if we actually take a look at the every cam, we see that, yeah, looks like Stephano took himself a real fast third. He's getting all sorts of goodies up. He's going his mass link style, which we're going to talk about in just a second. And Thorzain will just punish this and harass this as much as he can. But I still want to focus back on the base a little bit, what's happening back here. Because here's where things start to be a little unusual. Almost always, every Korean Terran that I've seen for the last month, every single one will not build these extra units. They will lift this starport, land it over here, and then build a barracks onto that reactor. That will allow him to start churning out a lot more Marines. And honestly, if you have just 1 barracks with reactor and 1 barracks with a tech lab, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be building Marines 3 at a time and medevacs 2 at a time. Because now every Marine has his own personal medevac. You're just sort of getting too many medevacs too early. But what's nice about getting just 2 really fast is for this drop. So I don't think that this should actually stick on here for much longer. Building this 1 medevac I think is fine. And this Viking, very clever. I like that quite a bit. I like that a lot. I think, though, that we still should lift this, land this here. And what we're going to see Thorzain do as a follow-up is instant 2 engineering bay. He's buying time. Look on the minimap. He's buying time down here. And, wow, you can do this. On some maps, you wouldn't be able to do this just because of the positions. But the next thing he's going to do is not get any sort of tanks quite yet. He first is favoring getting all his factory units up right away. Which I like a lot, actually. I do think, though, if you watch 4GG play, or Finn, I guess as he's more commonly known, Finn builds 1 barracks here, then builds a 3rd command center, and then gets the +2/+2. And I think I like that a little bit more. But still, I want you to just get the specifics up to, I guess I'd say, the 8-minute mark. Here we go. Here's the specifics. This whole rearrangement thing, getting this starport up. This basic look, I want you to just be aware of. This early barracks with the stim, you'll actually see this, the stim beautifully lines up with when the drop occurs. There's just a lot of really nice timings with this build. Bam. So again, this outright kills a lot of builds. It messes with a ton more. You're up against almost exclusively Zerglings and Banelings without speed, and you should be good enough to pick off Banelings without speed. And this buys you a lot of time to get upgrades, buys you time to get up a command center, buys you time to get up all these expensive add-ons. Yeah! It's a really solid, clever little opening that's becoming quite popular. It doesn't rely on the tank, which is, I think, why a lot of people like it. It can be sort of obnoxious and slow to get tanks sieged up into the correct positions and blur. This drop will almost always be effective. I wanted to talk a little bit about Stephano's opening in part 1, but it looks like we're already at around 20 minutes for part 1. So you know what? We'll talk about Stephano's opening in part 2 and then hop happily into the mid-game, talking a lot about expanding, transitions, etc. Cool. See ya in part 2, which is going to happen in 3 minutes. See ya in 3. See ya in 3 minutes. See ya in 3 minutes.